Hello and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series on Atlantic Ambition. My name is Barrett MacDonald and I'm your host, and I'm joined today by Marc and Phillip, co-owners of Trunk 7 Contracting and HFX Scoring. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. Would you like to kick things off a little bit about who you are and what got you started on your entrepreneurial journeys?
Hey, thanks for having me. My name is Phil. It's great to be on this podcast and get to showcase a little bit of what we've done and who we are. Um, my background came from automotive. I ended up into business with Marc. His background was always in construction, and we've known each other since we were kids. So we decided one day that we really wanted to do something for ourselves. So I stepped outside of my comfort zone and switched industries. Marc switched out of his comfort zone as being a cladding installer and more towards a business owner. And that's kind of how we landed here today. Marc?
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I've been in the cladding industry for about 20 years at this point. Six of those with Trunk 7. So we've been we started off very slow and ramped up quickly. And we've gone through that up and down to the point where we're at now, which is about 30 people between the two companies that we're running. And multiple different hats from an installer to pretty much a supervisor at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone thinks it's a straight line when you're an entrepreneur, but it is so twisty and turny and up and down, right? Which makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is kind of one of the most common misconceptions about owning a business that you've come across, and what have you done to kind of combat that?
I think the misconception that you need a very detailed and over the top business plan. I think it's more important, in my opinion, to act quick and move fast. You can stumble a couple times along the way and get better before somebody else might even get started. Certainly, some industries require very detailed or pinpointed business plans and things like that. But for the most part, just go out and do the thing. Same with investors. I don't think you need a huge line of credit and go to seek out multiple investors as well. Um, Certain industries you will, but for the most part, if you have a good idea, if you find a problem that needs to be solved, find a way to solve it and get out there and do it.
Absolutely. Y-
I would say that first interaction of being able to sell your service, that was what made us go, oh, we could do this. So pretty much starting the company, we ran off of our first two sales. We didn't really have to invest an overly large amount of money ourselves personally. And we were able to get that first sale of, oh, we can sell our service for funds and then keep growing that way. And that's how we got to where we are today.
Yeah, I mean, natural growth is always a good way of doing it. You were kind of touching on it there a little bit, Phil. You just got to kind of fail fast, and you got to take your chance, right?
Right.
Um,
As long
business
as you learn from those fails.
Exactly. Business plans kind of come in two forms. There's the rigid ones that you want to take into a bank to get some financing, and then there's the ones that are a living, breathing document that you're going to be changing all the time. So I think that you really touched on those. So what would you say have been your biggest learnings as an employer since you began in business and started being responsible for other people feeding their families?
Um, Making sure that you value your services. I think that's a really important one because you can be busy and not making very much money. You need to really make sure that you're in line with what you're offering and that you're getting a fair value for what that service or product is.
Right. Okay. Which is really, really good. And when you're going out and looking for those staff members and those employees, what are some of the things that you look for? And what do you do to kind of create that positive work environment?
We've always focused on hiring based on like good attitude first. So we try and bring in like good family values, eagerness to learn or at least try something new. We've leaned heavy on hiring trades not specific to cladding. We have blazers, uh, carpenters, guys with cladding experience, pipe insulators. Some of those guys have been our best employees over the years based on the fact that they're hungry to learn. Um, in the last little while, we've definitely focused in on people that are willing to prioritize their health and fitness. We find that that makes a big difference in how they represent themselves and our company and their eagerness to perform the tasks that we need to do. And at the end of the day, every one of our guys represents our company. So if they don't take pride in their work and how they represent themselves, they're definitely not going to be able to do that for our company. So we've really focused in on those guys that want to buy into the culture and have that pride in what they're doing and the work that they're completing.
Fantastic. Yeah, we kind of talked about how you're quite capable now of training people with the hard skills. So you're really just out there looking for those soft skills, which is a good approach in my opinion. So that's really good. What do you attribute your growth to?
Think Mark and I both have a strong drive to always be better and to personally grow. So we're constantly pushing each other to do more, do better, and improve, whether it's something personally or a business skill set. So I think that has a big part of it. We really try to focus on giving ownership of certain tasks to our staff, empowering them to make their own decisions, and helping to train them to become good, strong members of our team as well. Um, so I think that would be where we're at on that one.
That's awesome. And when you think back over the last couple of years, if you were to start everything all over again from scratch, what would you do differently the next time around?
We like you said, we started HFX just recently, so we kind of had a this one was fresh to mind. Um, we would definitely value our services higher than we did when we started Trunk 7. So when we started Trunk 7, we were really taking jobs probably under value, and pushing down the value of our service because we wanted to build those relationships. And ultimately, it turns you real busy, but not financially. You're not going to make it very long continuing that method. Another one for me was I thought I could work my way to the top without anybody else. You need to build a strong team that has the same values as you do
You
and
can't do it all
priorities.
yourself.
It's impossible.
You can't outwork a whole team.
Right,
And
absolutely.
then I would definitely say I'd probably look for coaching or strategic partnerships a little earlier than we probably did the first go around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you find that when you did seek that out, it really helped create some clarity and get rid of some of the chaos that was kind of going on?
I would say that couldn't be better said. It was it was it was a wild ride the first few years and it was a lot of learning and if you think you're going to learn a lot going to school, trying to open a business because the expenses of that are going to be a lot higher than any education you're going to pay for, and you're going to learn it real fast. So, yeah, if we would have paid up for some coaching or at least found some stronger mentors early on, we probably would have been a lot better off. But we learned those lessons the hard way, and we came into a situation where we ended up with some really great coaching and strategic partnerships, and we're reaping the benefits of that now. So
Absolutely.
Everybody likes to talk about their success, and it's easy to see that. People don't talk about their failures and their struggles and the grind of what it is to be in business. So for me, coaching was realizing that we're not alone and that there is an answer in a better way. And just by tweaking a small things or making a few different changes, that things can change drastically for the better in a very quick time.
Yeah, there comes that outside perspective and that 10,000 foot view that someone on the outside can kind of provide. And
Right.
you might think that something's a total failure and a wash, but on the outside looking in, you're actually 90% of the way there. It's only a 10% tweak you needed to make. And someone to kind of give you that confidence and push is something that kind of comes a long way. So way to seek out that help and take advantage of it, which is really good. Busy running two businesses, couple of years of operation. I mean, the construction boom in Halifax is no not rivaled to like World War II times or whatever it is that everyone keeps saying with no end in sight. So how do you balance your personal life with the demands of running two businesses?
It definitely hasn't always been a balance. That's something that we've kind of learned along the way. And I don't know if balance is the best word. I think over time it does even out, but over days, weeks, months, there's always one that's going to take a little bit more of your time or focus than the other in order for everything to be successful. A big one, I think I can say for both of us, is schedule everything. So whether it's your kids' soccer or a meeting with a new client, if it's important, put it in the calendar and get it scheduled so that you don't miss out. If you if you schedule it, you'll hold yourself accountable, and then it will be much easier to create a sense of balance, in my opinion.
And make sure the big ones go in early.
Yeah, everything
Right.
else can kind of trickle in there, but
Yeah. Don't miss birthdays,
yeah,
holidays, stuff like that. They have to go in. And then after that, it's the smaller things, and then the day to day can kind of feed in between those big ones.
Yeah, it comes to urgent versus important, right? And a lot
Yeah.
of people will attack the urgent and forget about the important. And the important is you only get one soccer game to go to a week to really influence your kids, right? So
right,
really kind of working on those. And
At the
yeah,
end of the
you
day,
get the, yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
at the end of the
Mark.
day, that's the only reason we're here,
right.
Yeah,
right? I mean, all the other things that have come with this are fantastic, but my daughter at home and my wife are the reason why I get out of bed every morning. So
yeah,
this place gives us the life we have there. It also is able to provide for our employees' families, which is amazing. But the team we have here is what it's all about. So you have to schedule those big ones, and it made the world of a difference for me when I started having a calendar to look at to go, okay, nothing can happen on this day because I would always put work first when we started this company.
right.
So it's made a
It's easy
world
to
of a
lose
difference.
focus and to do that when you're in the weeds just trying to get up and running.
Absolutely. And that's the work that has to happen in the beginning anyway. And that's the commitment that you kind of have to ask of your family and your support system is we're going to go down this path. It's going to be bumpy for the first little bit. But
Yeah,
I promise once I learn what a calendar is, I'll make sure I put the important things
yeah,
in there, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
And then you
sure.
get held accountable by them, which is huge. And I mean, one of the main reasons people go into being into business for themselves is because they don't want to have to ask permission to take time off. And all of a sudden, as business owners, we find ourselves
Yeah,
having to ask permission to take time off,
yeah. You're just
which
asking
makes it
yourself.
fun. Exactly. But it sounds like you guys have created the culture where if a staff member wants to take off and go to a parent teacher meeting or a soccer game, they can leave and come back pretty easily, right?
Yeah.
Which is
that stuff's
a big
important.
differentiator. Absolutely. So the last kind of question I have for you is someone that's kind of watching this podcast series at home, thinking about starting their own business. What's one piece of advice you'd like to give them? Or two, you can each give one.
Get started. Just go.
Yeah,
Get that first transaction done, and then see how that one went. Make your next play after that. I think that would be my biggest thing. I was a chronic. I wanted to make a plan. I wanted to do this, and then every time I did, there'd be something in the way because there's always going to be a problem. But if you give it a shot, you'll figure out the next answer.
I would agree. I think it's important to just start, put yourself out there and try, and know that it all doesn't come overnight.
Right.
You need to put in a bit of time. So hang in there and put your best foot forward.
Absolutely. Well, fantastic. And I thank you so much for your time today and to everyone watching at home. I look forward to seeing you on our next episode.
Thanks.
Thanks.